Hello everyone! Today we're going to discover a new story from Greek mythology that's entitled Ceyx and Alcyone. As our introduction, Hamilton takes his story from Ovid. Ceyx is the king in Thessaly and his wife is Alcyone. They love each other deeply, but one day, Ceyx decides that he must depart to visit the oracle. Alcyone has a premonition of disaster and she prays to Juno to protect her husband. These are more lovers who will be rewarded for their passion and piety, though Ceyx and Alcyone are different in that they are older and already married. And here are the objectives. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to recognize macrocosms in celebrated Greek and Roman love stories, define the meaning of hero and mythology, identify motives of the characters from the text, illustrate the relationship of love to the discovery and awareness of oneself, formulate personal concepts and perceptions of love, and acknowledge the reflection of not just our own deepest hopes and fears, but also those of people from the earliest times. And I guess all of you are now ready to hear the story, so let's get started. Ceyx also took on the shape of a bird and united with Alcyone. Alcyone was the daughter of Aeolus, although it is not totally clear which of the Aeoluses who appeared in Greek mythology was her father. Some tell it was the king of Thessaly with Inarate or Aegial bearing Alcyone, or else it was Aeolus, the king of the Aeolian Islands and the ruler of the winds. This second Aeolus makes more sense in terms of the later events in the myth of Alcyone and Ceyx. Okay, so let's talk about the characters of the story. Okay, so let's first talk about the major characters. Here we have Ceyx. He's the king of Thessaly, son of Lucifer, the light bearer, and husband of Alcyone. And of course, we also have Alcyone, the daughter of Aeolus, the king of the winds, and the wife of Ceyx. And now let's have the minor characters. Here we have Juno, also known as Hera. So she's the goddess of marriage, and Iris, the goddess of rainbows and messenger for Juno. And we also have Somnus, the god of sleep, and Morpheus, the son of Somnus and god of dreams. So let's talk about the children of Alcyone and Ceyx. So prior to their transformation, Alcyone and Ceyx were said to have become parents to Hippasus, a prince who would be an ally of Heracles in his war against Icalia. Hippasus, though, would die in the war. Occasionally, Hylas, a friend and companion of Heracles, was said to be a son of Alcyone and Ceyx, although other more likely parents of Hylas were commonly stated. It's story time! So, Ceyx and Alcyone are married happily until Ceyx decides to take a journey across the ocean to consult an oracle. Ceyx was troubled by events in his kingdom since his brother Daedalion had been transformed into a hook by Apollo. King Ceyx decided to consult the oracle of Delphi, and although he could have got there by land, it would have been a journey with many dangers en route. Ceyx therefore decided to go by sea, although Alcyone was said to have pleaded with her husband not to make the trip. Ceyx had made up his mind, and so, leaving his wife in Trachis, the king set sail. Each night after her husband had departed, Alcyone would pray to Hera for the safe return of her beloved husband. Alcyone's fears were well founded, for when Ceyx's boat had traveled only a part of the journey, it was caught up in a great storm. Ceyx realized his end was near, and he prayed that his body might be returned by the waves to Trachis and his wife. Occasionally, it was said that the cause of the shipwreck was a thunderbolt thrown by Zeus, Zeus having been angered by the Ceyx and Alcyone calling each other Zeus and Hera, thus comparing themselves to gods. This impiety, though, doesn't fit with the character of Alcyone and Ceyx, and so the shipwreck may well have just been an accident. The lovely Alcyone waited for her husband for a long time, praying continually to the gods, especially to Hera, the queen of the gods, for the safe return of Ceyx. Hera felt profound sorrow for the tragic fate of Ceyx. She sent her messenger Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, to look for Hypnos, the god of sleep and comforter of the afflicted, to whom was assigned the mission of gently informing Alcyone about the death of her husband. Hypnos, in his turn, entrusted the mission to his son, Morpheus, an expert in forming apparitions. Morpheus would change his appearance, taking on the form of Ceyx, and subsequently appeared to Alcyone in her dreams. There, Morpheus told Alcyone of the fate of her husband. Alcyone would wake up and go to the shoreline, and there she discovered a floating body, returned to Trachis by the waves. Coming closer, she realized it was the body of her beloved Ceyx. After performing the last rites and unable to continue living without her husband, Alcyone threw herself into the sea and got drowned, determined to join her husband in the land of the dead. The gods in Olympus were profoundly affected by the tragic fate of Alcyone and Ceyx, as well as their wonderful love for one another which not even the frosty hands of death could extinguish. In order to atone for his actions that was responsible for this tragedy, Zeus transformed the couple into the Halcyon birds, also known as kingfishers. The end. Now let's talk about the story symbolisms. Halcyon birds. It symbolizes eternal love and freedom because when turned into the birds, the couple could love each other and be with each other forever. It symbolizes tranquility because when the birds lay their eggs on the sea, it is calm for 7 days. Halcyon birds are also known as kingfishers, and the Halcyon days are actually known as 14 days of calm weather. Now let's move on to the themes of the story. Fate. Ceyx does indeed meet disaster on his journey, as his ship is destroyed by a hurricane and Ceyx is killed. Juno is touched by Halcyone's prayers, so she asks Somnus, the god of sleep, to send Alcyone a dream explaining what happened to her husband. Alcyone wakes up grieving and goes to a ledge overlooking the ocean. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned a lot.